Welcome into the DML Network. It's your boy Xpert, and I got another episode of my show, Xpert's Corner. And this one's going to be a little bit different. No guest this time, just your boy Xpert. But we're going to talk a little bit about this EA deep dive that they did on franchise. We're going to talk today about scheme, about the archetypes, and about player regression. But first, I want to talk a little bit about EA Play and give a couple shout outs. I want to shout out the devs that gave us a little opportunity for some interviews. Of course, Clint, appreciate him stopping. Carlos stopped with us. And then, of course, Ben Ha-Miller, the lead guy for CFM. Just want to send a special thank you to those guys for giving us a little bit of their time at EA Play. I know they were super busy. A lot of things going on, but appreciate that. Had a blast at EA Play. If y'all didn't get a chance to go to EA Play this year, make sure y'all put that on your schedule for next year. Was super cool to see all the guys in the community, Smitty, Hollywood, Shotmaster, and hopefully some F-Ball Critic will be there next year. But let's jump into the show. So first topic on Xpert's Corner today is offensive and defensive schemes. If you got a chance to look at the deep dive, this was one of the segments that they talked about. If not, go over to easports.com and check out the franchise deep dive. It's going to break everything down for you. We're just going to touch on a couple things, but there are several new schemes that they put. And guys, listen, there were schemes in Madden 18, but they didn't really have any effect on your team. They didn't have a bonus. They didn't have an XP bump. Nothing really benefited you in Madden 18 for having a scheme. Most guys didn't even look at that. Where now in Madden 19, you're going to have to pay close attention to the scheme that you run. So the schemes that they put in Madden 19, and I'm just going to listen real quick, is West Coast zone run, West Coast power run. You got vertical zone and power run. You got multiple zone and power run. Then you have the spread and the run and shoot. And then on defense, you'll have the base 4-3, the multiple 4-3, base 3-4, multiple 3-4, Tampa 2, and the 46 defense. I'd love to see the guys that are running that 46 defense tell me how that works out for you in Madden. I don't think too many people are going to run that. We're going to be a base 4-3 wherever experts go. But if you look at the scheme on the screen right now with Kyle Shanahan, he is running a West Coast zone run offensive scheme, which I believe is what Kyle Shanahan runs for the 49ers right now. But then if you look at this card, it lists all of those offensive players and what archetypes you need. So at any point, EA has said you can change the scheme that you want to run. So if you're a 49er guy and you pick them and you don't want to run West Coast zone run, you'd rather run the West Coast power, or you want to run a vertical offense, you can change those at any point. Now, of course, that's going to change the type of players that you need. And if you change it, it's going to really... it's not going to hurt you in any way, but it's going to make you start to make some decisions as that GM, as that owner, about what players you bring in to your team. And we'll use the 49ers as an example. So right now, at quarterback, he has the quarterback that fits his scheme. So he's going to get a bump. His quarterback's going to get that bonus XP in training because he's a scheme fit. Versus if you ran the West Coast zone run, but you had a vertical quarterback or you had a scrambler at quarterback, he's not going to get that bonus. So it's very crucial when you look at your scheme for offense or defense that you have players that fit into that scheme. Now, does that mean that you can't draft a guy that's a field general or a scrambler at quarterback? No. But you just have to figure what's more important to you. Is the bump in XP important based on your scheme? Or is the type of player at quarterback what you want? Now, when we talk about archetypes, you'll be able to switch those guys too. But you're going to see that it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to build certain guys up to get to that scheme. Now, here's where I love this part about Madden 19. And it's kind of been hot and cold if you look in the community, whether on Twitter, on Facebook, on some of the blogs that people have put out. And I encourage you guys to get on YouTube and watch some of these guys break this stuff down. Because there's some guys in the community that do a great job I love shouting out the homie SimF Ball Critic and Smitty. Those guys do a great job, as well as Shopmaster, of breaking some of this stuff down as those game changers do, and just kind of get your feel for it. But for me, scheme was so exciting to me because now it's going to make the draft and free agency start to become a little bit more important. So right now in Madden 18, and I just looked at free agency in my league that I'm in the Dynasty, and you basically have those top 10, 15 guys in different positions that everybody is spending money to try and go and get. Now, when scheme goes into Madden 19, you may not see those top 10, 15 guys. It may be more spread out. You may see 30 guys in free agency, 40 guys in free agency that guys are bidding on, because player A may only fit 4 or 5 guys scheme. So, when you get a free agent, you don't really want to change his archetype. You want to pick guys that fit your scheme, so that's going to be important. Then when you look at the draft and you start drafting players that fit what your team is looking for, because you're trying to build these guys as quick as you can, you're going to start seeing a lot more guys fall to you, versus right now where we look at combine so important. We look who won the Heisman Trophy is so important. We're trying to find that superstar, and we'll talk about development a little later in the show. But now the draft is going to mean more to you, which means your scouting points are going to mean a lot to you this season, because you're going to have to find those guys that fit your scheme, that fit what you're trying to do in your offense. If we look at Kyle Shanahan, he needs agile linemen. And the reason he needs that, he's running West Coast. He's trying to dink and dunk you to death. He's trying to run a screen. He's trying to get guys that can get out and pick up those blocks. He's doing quick runs. He wants possession wide receivers. He doesn't need that guy running 40 yards down the field. He needs that guy that's going to run the slant. He's going to run the deep end. He's going to run the comeback. So it's just crucial when you start drafting and when you start looking at free agency that you find guys that fit your scheme. And that's going to be so important, which is one of the reasons I am so excited about Madden 19. And I will defend it any chance I get. After talking to Ben Miller, the CFM guy, of how important scheme is going to be when you start building your team in Madden 19, it's going to mean a lot more now than it ever has before in Madden, especially in the past 10 years that we've had franchise. And one of the reasons scheme is important is because of the next topic. When we look at player archetype, it's so crucial when you start looking for these guys to fit your team that you find a guy with the right archetype. Now, we all know the QB position is so important, and they have four types. You have a strong arm scrambler, the West Coast, and the field general. Now, if we look right here at Matt Ryan's card, Matt Ryan, as we know, is a West Coast guy. He still has the ability to throw the ball down the field. Just because he's West Coast doesn't mean he can't throw the ball down the field, but he's a West Coast guy. And if you look right now at West Coast, he would be an 88 overall. Now, we could change him and make him a field general, which I think Matt Ryan is a field general type of quarterback. He would only drop to 86. But then you start looking at those other two, okay? If we put him at a strong arm, he's going to drop 6 points. He's going to go down to an 82. Matt Ryan is not standing in the pocket and throw the ball 40 yards down the field multiple times in a game. And then if you look at scrambler, we definitely know Matt Ryan should not be scrambling with the football. Now, he'll pick up a first down here and there with his feet, but he's not a scrambler, which is why if you change him to a scrambler, he'd drop all the way down to a 78. That's where Archetypes is going to come into play. If you have a Matt Ryan, you want to leave him in that West Coast, maybe that field general, and you would be able to build him back up. Whereas the Deshaun Watson, you want him to be at a scrambler. He's going to be an important archetype at scrambler because his legs help him become a more effective quarterback. Where if you change him to a West Coast like Matt Ryan, he dropped all the way down to 79. He's not a West Coast guy. He's not a pick you apart in the pocket. This is where Madden 19 is leaps ahead of where Madden 18 was. I have Deshaun Watson in my major league in the Dynasty. And I can do anything I want with him because I can upgrade anything I want. I can upgrade short, medium, deep, his awareness. I can do all of those things that I want to upgrade him. Where in Madden 19, it's going to be specific to what his archetype is. You can still upgrade those other things. It's just going to take you a little bit longer to get him where you want him to be. Where if you just stick where Madden has put him in that scrambler, he's going to progress a lot faster. Now, when you start looking at some of these archetypes, you're going to have to start looking at these when you do everything with your team. So when you get to picking up a free agent, or if you're going to make a trade, or if you're scouting guys that are coming out of college, all of these archetypes you're going to have to make yourself look for certain things. Now, are there going to be 3 or 4 guys in the draft that will be able to switch? Sure, there's going to be that stud linebacker that comes out. There's going to be that stud quarterback that comes out that may be able to switch a couple things. But this game is going to cause guys to be true GMs. And that's what I am looking for in my franchise mode, is no more of this vanilla cookie cutter, everybody looking at the same guy, everybody trying to draft that 1 or 2 top cornerback, top quarterback, top running back. Now it's going to cause guys to get more into those later rounds and actually look for those guys that fit what you're trying to do. If you're looking at a middle linebacker, are you a pass coverage linebacker? Are you a run stopper? Or are you a field general? For me, I'm a pass coverage middle linebacker. So I'm not going to be looking at that middle linebacker that's a run stopper. I'm just not going to look for him. It's not going to be important to me. He's going to be important to other guys in a franchise mode. I want that pass coverage guy. It's the same thing when you start looking at cornerbacks. If you're going to run a man-to-man coverage style defense, you're going to want to look for coverage guys that have man-to-man archetypes. For me, I'm a more zone coverage kind of guy. I start looking at some of these guys that play the ultimate team. You see a lot of zone coverage type of guys. We got a chance to talk to the homie W. Shout out to the homie W. Y'all need to check him out on Twitter and follow the homie because, he's got great insight, truly loves the game of Madden, likes to break it down. He's not a man-to-man guy. I watched W kill guys with that zone coverage. So when he starts looking, even in Madden Ultimate Team, when he starts looking at things, he's going to look for those zone coverage type of guys. And that's what I want. On top of, you're going to have those specialty positions as well. You're going to have that slot cornerback. You're going to have that third down rushing DN. But this is where Archetypes is going to play a huge role in Madden 19 as you start to build your squad. And there are going to be guys in franchise mode that are going to be stuck in that Madden 18 mode where they're just going to be looking at combines. They're just going to look at, grading, and they're going to pick guys based on visuals like they did in Madden 18. And there's going to be a lot of guys in franchise mode that are going to be behind the 8 ball. And it's going to be hard to pull yourself out of that. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't. I'm sure you can find a way to dig yourself out that hole. But I'm begging you, if you're watching Xpert's Corner, if you're listening to the homie Xpert, when Madden 19 comes out, I recommend that you become a GM first. Yes, at the end of the day, it's going to come down who has the best stick skills in the game. But if you can gain that advantage by having the right scheme with your head coach and by filling it with the right archetypes, players to fit that scheme, you're going to find yourself a step, maybe 2 steps ahead of some other guys who are still drafting and pulling free agents the way they did in Madden 18. Which brings me to my last segment of the show, regression. So when I got a chance to talk to Ben about regression, because it's something that comes up frequently in the leagues that I'm in, of how regression was just across the board pretty much the same way year after year, season after season in franchise mode. And it's something we wanted to see kind of improved on, changed a little bit. Is regression in Madden 19 perfect? No, I don't think it's at that perfect level yet. I still think there's some tweaks that they're going to make to it. But I agree with what Ben said in our interview. It is a better system than we had in Madden 18. So now in Madden 19, your players are going to regress based on their age and their development trait. Now, you're going to have a more dynamic regression system than we had in 18. So those high guys, those high development traits, your superstar, your star, they're going to regress slower, and they should. We see in the NFL, Tom Brady, while he's not the same Tom Brady he was 5 years ago, he definitely hasn't lost, throwing power, his accuracy, like Madden 18 is taken away from it. We still see those guys, Le'Veon Bell. That guy's not going to regress like a regular running back, Alfred Morris. He's not going to regress like that. He's going to take longer to lose those stats. And that's what Madden has changed. So if you have a superstar or a star development player, he's going to stick around. His career is going to last a little bit longer. If you have a normal development guy, he's going to start regressing at a much faster rate as he gets older and his career starts coming to an end. And that's more of an in-depth regression system than we've seen before. And the way that they did this was they changed up the way that the development traits work. They got rid of slow. If you listen to Ben, he said the reason they got rid of slow was he got tired of NFL guys hitting him up saying, why am I slow development in the game? And so they really changed that up, where now I just think slow development has now gone to normal because now they've added star. So now you have normal, quick, star, and superstar. And so it's going to be based on where those guys land. Now, it's going to be harder to be a superstar than we saw in Madden 18. And then Ben also talked about there's only going to be in every draft maybe 2 or 3 superstars per draft. So you're not going to see, 8 superstars in the first round like we've seen in some drafts here in Madden 18. And so it's going to kind of those levels are going to spread themselves out a little bit farther, where you have that guy that's at a superstar level that's not going to regress as quick, but then you're going to have to make smart decisions when you got that guy normal that's starting to lose a step. Do you send him down the road a year earlier than you should? Do you hang on to him? Is he continue to be in your scheme? This is the layers that we've been talking about in Madden, and we've been asking for the past 4 or 5 years. And I think EA is starting to listen to the community a little bit more. Not saying that they didn't listen before, but they're starting to put some things in the game. Now, let me say this. Is Madden 19 perfect? No. By no stretch is Madden 19 perfect, and EA knows that. Every developer that we talked to said, listen, we want to put more into the game than what we've already put. But there's time constraints, there's resources constraints, and anybody can disagree with that. Twitter today was just crazy on guys, bashing EA. And listen, they got every right to be upset about EA's game and where Madden has gone. They got every right. That's their privilege to be on social media and not be happy about it. Those guys are still buying Madden 19 in August when it comes out. Matter of fact, those guys have already pre-ordered it. I don't care what they say. They're going to play it. And I think they're going to be thrilled because of scheme, archetypes, and regression. But I encourage you to get onto EA's website, easports.com. If you look for the franchise deep dive, you just type in their search engine, franchise deep dive. You can look at what John White has put on there and really breaks everything down. Was a great piece that was written by John. And I'm looking forward to Madden 19. But let's finish the show out with Xpert's thoughts. And the first Xpert thought is, I want to say thank you to the community. So Xpert's Corner has been around for a couple months now. I've had some great guys on the show. Smitty, Shopmaster was on, Sim was on. The homie Prime from NBA Live 19. Y'all make sure y'all check out NBA Live 19. That's going to be a fire game. I cannot wait for that game. But we've seen a lot of love from the community, and we're just looking to grow the show and get our voice out there. But we want to hear your voice. And if it's something you want us to do a show on, please don't hesitate to hit us up. You can catch me on Twitter at DML Experts Corner. Please go follow the page. I follow anybody that follows me. I follow you back. I love to chop it up with anybody in the community, even when you don't agree with me. I love that back and forth. Let's talk about it. I want to hear your opinions, but I can't thank y'all enough for the love and support that y'all shown Xpert. And it's been just tremendous over these past couple months, and we just look to continue to grow it. Last Xpert's thought, and this one's a little personal. LeBron James, I know you watch Xpert's Corner. I know you do. And you're sitting at home right now, licking your wounds from that beating that you took from Golden State. But I got a plan, LeBron. And my plan is you need to come to Dallas and become a Maverick. Now, listen, LeBron, I understand that a lot of people are going to be looking for your services in their town. LA looks really flashy, but man, I trust you. Listen, I went to LA. The traffic is horrible. There's nowhere to park. Come to Dallas. We got everything LA has to offer, plus some. We'll give you the key to the city. Matter of fact, we'll just change Fort Worth's name. It'll be LeBron City. It'll be Dallas and LeBron City. I promise you, come to Dallas, team up with the homie Dirk Nowitzki, win you another championship, and knock these Golden State Warriors off. I promise you, you will have a blast. Man, I can't thank y'all enough for tuning into Xpert's Corner. Make sure you check me out on Twitter. Hit that like button, subscribe button, and leave us your comments on the bottom. But it's your boy Xpert, and I'm out.